How goes it, folks? Charlie Yellow talking to you, and I just finished watching episode 6 of the Skeleton Crew, so now let's take a moment and talk about it. So episode 6 starts off with the kids being separated from Jod. He ends up falling in the clutches of Brutus, and he is kind of basically put on trial and just narrowly manages not to be tossed out of an airlock. But this episode mostly focused on the kids, in which they, separated from him. They're now far from the ship and they're trying to get their way back to it. What I liked about this episode very much is they did a split the party type thing, of course, even after separating from Jod. Then the kids even split up 2 and 2. And we actually saw Fern and Neil go one way, and then we saw Wim and KB go another. And I did not expect this to turn into a KB episode, or a KB moment at least, in which we kind of see a little bit of her relationship with Fern, or kind of what goes on between the two of them, their dynamic, so to speak. And we see that KB, she has a hard time speaking up to Fern to tell her, like, wait, I can't do this, or something is different. She feels different. She doesn't agree with Fern, which kind of makes sense because, like with a lot of kind of proud-hearted, hard on your sleeve characters like Fern, they sometimes have a tendency to not take proper inventory of those around them and maybe overestimate their abilities because they're not checking in with them. And I kind of get the feeling that Wim and Neil could probably stand to have a similar situation or a similar scene, so that we could kind of get what Neil really feels rather than being led around by Wim all the time. But I did like what was going on there, and of course KB got a moment. I don't think we still have the full story of why she has those augmentations and implants. We just know an accident happened and now she has them, and those are a major liability because she said she went several days without doing proper maintenance on them, and it almost cost her her life. Thankfully though, with Wim's help, she was able to come back around. They're back together, and we actually saw like a little bit of a reconciliation between Fern and KB, to where they kind of acknowledge each other, stuff like that. And now they are back off, going into space to the next part of the adventure. I'm still enjoying this series, even though I'm not the target audience. What do you guys think about Skeleton Crew? Are you into it? Did you already drop it? Are you ready to see what happens next? You folks have a good one. Charlie Yellow out. So how it goes, folks? Charlie Yellow talking to you. The only reason I'm here, the video is actually over, but I needed to add a little bit to it because when I originally recorded it, it was less than 3 minutes, and I tried to upload it to YouTube now. It's coming in as a short, but I want this as a whole video. So this is just me yammering and shooting the breeze for about an extra 30 or 40 seconds just to eat up the space and eat up the time. You're more than welcome to move on to other videos on the channel. I've been putting some things up here and there. Keep an eye out. I'll be continuing putting up my episode breakdowns and my impressions of every episode of Skeleton Crew. It's already finished. I've already done all 8 episodes, so each one will have a separate video up here soon. Keep an eye out. You folks have a good one.